Michigan State preparing for the heat and a stiff road test against Arizona State tonight. Temperatures at kickoff expected to be 100 degrees. The Tri-Tigers TV announcers Mario Mpemba-Rodell is suspended for the rest of the season after allegedly getting into a physical altercation earlier this week. At the Ticket Update desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 9701theticket.com.
The following is a paid program. The views expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Entercom Communications, its sponsors, or affiliates.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. Alongside of me, Harry Glanz.
What's up, Harv? How's everybody doing today?
Oh, everyone's doing great, Harry. It's September 8th already. This is football season.
You know, I miss being on the air. You know, last month I've had a lot going. You were at my daughter's wedding. I had a wedding a week after that. And it's just, summer's over. We're in fall. Things are happening in the market. We have guests on that are experts in their field, and we're going to be talking about what's going on in the market.
Yeah, there's a lot of great things going on. We brought in today Darla Rowley from Impact Home Staging Experts. Darla, welcome to our show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. I know you got some radio background, but your background in this home staging stuff, I read the book last night. Well, I went through it. I didn't read entirely the whole book, but awesome stuff in there. And we're going to talk a lot about home staging and some of the, I guess, misconceptions about it, too. We'll get into that and the costs and everything involved in home
Darla,
staging.
I got to tell you something. For years now, Harvey's new word was staging. He loved the phrase staging. Now that we have you on the show, this could be his best show of the year. He's so excited about having you on.
Hey,
Well, I plan to make it as good as I can.
Yeah, you will.
Darla, you bring in some great real estate agents, of course, John and Jack Apap from the Apap Group at Signature Sotheby's downtown Birmingham. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Very excited to be on.
Jack, of course, we got tons to talk about. I was going to talk your ear off last night, but I'll save it for a little bit for today.
All right, I love it.
Your dad's been around a long time in the industry. You know, you guys do it's just like professional office. You guys bring a lot of class to real estate market. And I think I actually like that part of it. I think we need to sort of go back into that and make it classy and professional and educate people so that they do the right things.
Harvey, I agree with you 100%. You know, it's all about trust in our business, and I think, class is one thing that people really look for.
Yeah, they say 43% of the real estate agents, when you're hiring one, you refer. Typically, people are hiring people that are referred to them. So it's just that much important to really build that relationship and that bond with the client. So you really put the process together that's going to work for every family situation.
Absolutely.
It's really important. I don't want to interrupt you, but I think what goes along with your business, because in every business now, everybody's first step is they'll Google something up, they'll go on the internet, they're pulling information. And the dissemination of accurate versus inaccurate information that we're finding out there is the disparity of what's accurate is incredible. So they have to have realtors, stagers, mortgage people, accountants, lawyers, CPA, everybody involved in the transaction all has to be on the same team. And you talk about integrity and you talk about trust. That's what it's all about. I mean, that's what you bring. And years of experience, which you're teaching, it goes hand in hand with what we do. So I have great comfort in being able to call you to come and stage my house. You've been in the business, you're experienced. Harvey loves staging. I mean, and we're going to talk about why it's going to be more important going forward, because the APAPs are going to tell us right now we're on the downside of a 7-year seller cycle. They know that sooner or later, could be next month, could be the month after, that this seller cycle is going to end.
Correct.
So staging of a house is going to become more important to selling. And then you're going to tell us the reasons why. So I love this. I think this is a timely show. I'm jacked up because I've been off the air for a month doing other things. And Harvey put together a great show for us because it's just that time of year going into the fall/winter. I hate to say that, but that's where we're going.
Right.
248-539-9797. We're going to take all your calls this hour. Again, it's the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're open all weekend long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Of course, we'll get into the approval letters and all the importance of getting the right professionals involved in your transaction. But Darla, after going through the book last night, I came away with a couple things. One was that there's a need for this. I think it's for every house. It's just not for that $500,000 to $3 million house. It's for even a starter home. There's definitely reasons why agents the house they list, it sort of distinguishes themselves by having these unbelievable properties that they're presenting.
Well, what is interesting is we often hear this is only needed for high-end homes. And the reality is, it's every home is a castle for somebody. And the point is, we need to make sure that that home, regardless if it's a $100,000 home or $5 million home, speaks to the emotions of that prospective buyer. Also, photography is critically important. And you also want to be able to pick your buyers. So the only way you get to do that is if your photos are head on and you're partnered with the right team, and that your product that you're selling, which is your home, is merchandised in a way that is going to have mass appeal. And even in a hot market, you want not one offer, you want 10.
Yeah, you do.
Because you want to be able to pick the terms of that condition. You want to be able to close fast. You want to, maybe you need to stay there a little bit longer. So you need to negotiate being able to stay in the home, for a couple extra months. So you want to be able to pick your buyer. When you only get one or two offers, you're stuck with whatever somebody puts on your plate. But when you properly prepare, you are going to have maximum value. The result's going to be more perfect for you.
Right. Let's talk about dollars and cents for a second, because in sales, right, it's all about marketing. It's how you market yourself to your prospective clients. And in staging a house, you're the marketer end of that, because you want to present that property properly to get the maximum purchase price for that seller. So in dollars and cents, you ready? You're going to tell us how much the average cost is to somebody. And then if somebody could pick up, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, and it's simple math. If it costs somebody $1,000 or $2,000 to properly stage and present and market their home, but they get an extra $5,000 on the sale of that home, the simple math equation is, would I give you $2,000 to pick up $3,000? In other words, $2,000 to make $5,000, so I net out at $3,000. I think all day long in the investment world, it's probably a pretty good investment, right? That's a good ROI, return on investment.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're really talking about, isn't it?
Absolutely. On average, 1% to 5% is a minimum that you can expect from a return on investment. But there are smaller things, too, like even a simple consultation for an occupied house can set up a home seller for maximum success. Just telling them what to do, what not to do, put them on the right path. When you hire a stager and when a realtor partners with the stager, we get to be the bad cop. They get to preserve the relationships, and, we collaborate, we'll share information and what their biggest concerns are for the home. But also, I'm going to go in and say, yeah, I know you told me not to complain about that floral wallpaper. John knows what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. So don't say it. I've already said it 3 times, Darla. I said, then I walk in the door and I say, yeah, I know John told me not to say anything about this, but I have to have a clear conscience that the return on investment and what's going to happen if you don't do it.
Right.
And what's the monetary outcome of that decision.
And you're an added voice on that team. You're an additional person counseling and advising somebody to do the right thing.
Absolutely. And, we're like the extra hammer, to really.
An extra hammer.
And you need every single tool in your toolbox.
So Harry, my dad and I were actually flipping a house, and we had Chris from Impact Staging come in too, just to give us a look. So this is stuff we see every day, and we trust them with our own investment too. So it's a pretty big deal, and it does make a big difference, I would say too.
And I would tell you, and you're going to elaborate on this. Listen, when we first heard of staging, and I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for Harvey because he's been a real big proponent of this. When you hear of staging, you hear, okay, they're going to come in, they're going to tell you to take these pictures out, they're going to tell you to move these things around, they're just, get all the loose clutter off the counters and in the closets and everything like that. But it's really more scientific and analytical than that. You really have a formula and a methodology to what you're talking about.
Well, absolutely, because we have to look at the demographic of who your likely buyer is going to be. So if you have an urban loft, you're going to merchandise that in a completely different way than you would a traditional colonial like in Birmingham. So those buyers are in different socioeconomic groups. They have different lifestyle likes. A perfect example is we staged a house a while back. It was a condo, and we were kind of forced to use some things that were left behind. It wasn't our first option. We didn't recommend it. We gave them a consultation initially, like a year prior. They finally came back the following years. It didn't sell yet because they didn't follow our tips.
Okay.
And then they said, but we took out a lot of furniture, so now we want you to backfill it and just make it look great. Well, it's an urban loft. It had a ton of traditional furniture that we were forced to work with. And you know what? We did an amazing job with it, and it looked great. But those two lifestyle combinations do not go together. Right. And I don't even know that it ever sold.
Yeah, were you
And-
surprised when you walked in there and you saw that?
Yeah, I mean it's but you have to look at what is the logical. Who's going to be the logical buyer? Is it going to be a family? Is it going to be somebody more youthful or an up and coming professional, or maybe it's a young couple? You can tell by the size of the house, the neighborhood it's in, what kind of schools and parks and activities are in the area, what kind of things are going on. We look at the demographic of the buyer so that we know that we're merchandising it appropriate for the likely buyer. Another example is a contemporary home. Like, all right, you have a contemporary home in a traditional neighborhood. Now, what do you do?
Right.
Hey, Darla, let me jump in real quick. We're going to go to a break here in a quick second. 248-539-9797. That music says we'll go ahead and take that break right now. When we come back, we got Darla Rowley in from Impact Home Staging, got the APAP group in, real estate agent professionals from downtown Birmingham. We're going to talk all about what's going on and the trends. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Welcome back to the show, 9:18. A gorgeous day out there. That's right, we're out there at the Dream Cruise. Coming up after us, you're going to have Pat Caputo, Dan Leach. They're going to be talking cars, sports, a little bit of social commentary always with those guys. 248-539-9797. Come and join the Hardcore Mortgage Show. We are brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. I'm Harvey Freed. Of course, James Lutz filling in for Harry Glantz. He brought in a great staff, Ian Mason, Kevin McClellan, and who does like the rehab guy here on the east side, does a lot of great stuff. Hey, as you guys know, mortgage rates still at all-time lows. The 10-year yield started on Monday, sort of ended with the same numbers on Friday. Very little change in mortgage rates. If you look at the last 2 months, very little change. The geopolitical events that we thought were going to creep into the market and rally the bond, pretty quiet week last night for Turkey and China and some other worldly things. It's nice when things are quiet. And of course, with the unemployment figures being so low, yeah, you're going to see rates probably bump up. Of course, that's what the talk of the Fed is, that look for another 1 or 2 bumps in the Fed funds rate. However, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to drive up the mortgage interest rates. We've seen a couple bumps, and it's been generally pretty flat.
True.
All right, if you want to join the show, 248-539-9797. I threw it out there, and, I've got my buddy Scott selling his house, and sure enough, he's got it listed, and he did a price reduction. His agent did mention to him maybe, hey, look, it's gorgeous, the bones are solid, it's got a new roof, it's got some great stuff, but it's got that kitchen with the, the Formica, and it hasn't been repainted. It's probably, do you spend the extra $10,000? I throw it out there, Ian. It's scary business to me. Do you spend the extra $10,000 because you think you're going to net an extra $15,000? Do you spend 10 to get 15? Where's that fine line? And can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Most people are surprised by it. Everybody wants to do something to participate in selling their home, and I appreciate that. But most often, my advisement is no. In my eyes, clean, safe, and functional, or a balance of the three, is really where you need to be. Obviously, if there's something that's going to flag like an FHA issue, of course, under the 300 mark or what have you, but or maybe something that would actually flag a conventional, which would be rare there. But either way, something of that sort, of course, you need to fix it. But when it comes to cosmetics, countertops, cabinets, carpeting, clean, safe, and functional. So, I mean, if your carpet's got pet stains in it, then that's not clean. Yeah, you probably need to replace it.
This house has all of those things, and I like that you commented on cleans. It's safe. It's fine. Let the people that are going to buy it, they have to have a little vision. They also might want to put their own colors and pick out their own granite. So go and look at that house. Maybe if it's a little over your budget, you can always make an offer.
That's
Sunday Night Football on 97.1 The Ticket. NFC North rivals. Packers versus Bears. Pregame at 7:30 on 97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back. This is the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. In our 18-plus year here doing the show, again, we want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. We're bringing some great people.
Have we been doing that long?
Going on 19 years this year, Harry. Well, if they let us do it again, hopefully they will. But we'll take all your calls, 248-539-9797. Again, talking home staging, purchasing, and what's going on, market trends all around the area here. Of course, as you guys know, the jobs report came out yesterday. It's strong. The Fed's talking about 2 more Fed rate hikes this year, one at the end of this month, maybe one more in December. They could move the mortgage rates up a little bit, not necessarily always, but again, time to lock in. And if you're thinking about purchasing a house, now's an awesome time. We always talk about some of these, John and Jack, some of the houses that have been left on the market over the summer for whatever reasons. Maybe they weren't staged properly. Maybe they were just priced too high. Those are some opportunities for families out there. What do you guys see in regards to some of the inventory that's left on the market after the summer?
You know, Harvey, we have a great response from a lot of our buyers that buy at the end of the year. Actually, our daughter got married last month. Moving back from Chicago. They bought a house at the end of October last year, and they put a tenant in there for 6 months before the wedding, and then the tenant loved the house in the area that they ended up buying the house from our daughter. But she bought it at such a great time of the year, later October, November, December. You know, people don't want to carry their houses in the winter. I mean, they want to be done with them. They want to move on. And I think at that point, it wasn't staged properly. It was actually vacant. And we just got a great deal on the house, and they decided to sell it after that. So I think this time of the year, and actually a lot of people say, oh, should I take it off for the holidays? You know, there's not a lot of inventory left. And I think a lot of people get some great buys at the end of the year. And our December has been always a great month.
Darla, I see you want to get in on that conversation. Bit of a fantastic way to increase not only your the equity, the amount you're going to net from the sale of your house. We talked about 1 to 5%, maybe about 3% average you might net. But you mentioned the other thing is you might get more offers, and these offers, they might have a situation that works for you. In other words, as a seller, you might need to sell and get it closed within 30 days, but the idea that you can stay there for another 60 days really could benefit you. And having that right buyer come in, definitely, and having that all set up in the logistics between one house to move to the next one, that's so important.
Well, it's very important to look at the total picture, right? Not just like one element of the sale, because a lot of times people just are so quick to put it on the market and they're not thinking about all the things that could impact the outcome. So it is really critical. Going to default to what you were talking about, John, if you haven't staged it in the past, or if you are thinking about selling it in the fall, it's really critical, important that you hit it out of the park on the first shot. Like, be properly prepared so that you don't waste the opportunity that you have. Because if you stage it now, and you're going to have a much greater opportunity to sell it fast.
So is that the old adage, you never get a second chance to make a first impression?
Absolutely. It's just like a job interview. You can't go, because you're not only influencing the buyers who might be prospectively looking at it, you're also influencing the realtors who are showing those homes.
Yes.
So the fact is, those realtors are never going to show it again. Even if you come back 6 months and do something else, it takes a lot more marketing to get people to come back and look at a house that's been on the market previously.
It's well known if the APAP group has a house listed that it's going to represent them, and this house is going to be ready to go, and they're not going to be embarrassed to take a buyer there. Studies have shown that buyers make up their mind within seconds of entering the door. So as you said, you only get one shot at this first impression. So important to have all that set up. Statistics have proven that all these numbers make sense. And again, spend a little bit of money and find out what Impact Home Staging can do to get your home sold out there. I mean, this is a professional real estate operation here, so they're used to doing this. This is the norm for them. But if you haven't staged a house before, again, if it's sitting there, if there's reasons why it's not selling, maybe call and get some professionals in there. 248-539-9797. We have lots to share with you this morning. I want to get into some mortgage stuff real quick, and we'll go right back to home purchasing. Cash out refinancing has been gangbusters all year long. Of course, with all the equity, whether you bought a house in the last year or even in the last 10 years, very good chance that you got a ton of equity built in. And now families are coming back and using that equity to pay off bad debt, toxic debt, the credit card payments, the home equity loans that have variable rates that are starting to climb. Great time now to take advantage of that equity in your house, consolidate that toxic debt. And another thing that's coming up, if you haven't paid your summer tax bill, the bill goes out on July 1st. You might have slipped it away somewhere. But
September 14th.
Yes, Harry, that is coming up this week. It's coming up definitely next week.
Friday.
Definitely you're going to start those penalties will kick in. Although they're not going to crush you, be sure to find out if you can hurry up and get your taxes paid and get ahead of all those problems that can be created by not taking care of your business. Again, 248-539-9797. Always want to get into purchases. You guys mentioned, John and Jack, you guys mentioned you actually dove into the marketplace. I'm sure you've done a few of these now, but you guys are house flippers too. And what a great opportunity it still can be if you buy in those hot cities. And I know you mentioned you guys got a couple good ones.
Yes, sir, Harvey. So we got one actually in Beverly Hills, which I live. It's about a block away from my house, so it makes it easy, at least for me, to get over there. But yeah, so we're just looking for something with, it's a little dated. Still
What's
has
the purchase price on it?
It was for $269.
$269.
A great price still.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Beverly Hills, it's still really hot. So got it for $269. Put a decent amount into it, and we're looking to put it on by early next week.
And Darla's going to stage it on Monday for us.
Yeah.
So we're all excited about that. I'll tell you one thing about Darla. I met her about 5 years ago, trying to impress me on the staging. I was not a big staging fan in the beginning. And then after dealing with Darla, we tried a few of them. And I'll tell you, we stage every house we do now that we flip. But even with our clients, the consults that Chris and Marie and Laura do are just phenomenal. She has a great staff that she works with over there, and they just make it easy for us to be that buffer zone between the seller, giving them, people have been in their homes 30 years, all the wallpaper, all the old shag carpet. It's hard for us because they love their home. With Darla, it makes it easy because she's our buffer zone.
Yeah, you bring a little third party in there to say, maybe this needs to be fixed. And again, it could be something you're looking at, visual, smells, or anything like that.
So it never hurts to have more people on the team. And Darla and I were talking at the break. We're real team people at Capital Mortgage Funding. We believe in the team concept. We get things done because the more people that are doing their specific job and role and their duty in the transaction, and you leave it to the expert in that transaction. You leave it to Darla and her crew to go in, and I'll bet you the way it works is you get a call, you call Darla up and you say, hey, listen, Darla, go check this house out. Just do what you do. Stage it, and then just let me know. And you stay out of it. You remove yourself from it.
The buffer.
That's great.
That's true.
And that's what has to happen.
Yeah.
That's what has to happen. You can tell that when you're working with solid people, experienced people, you just let them do their thing. You get out of their way.
Right.
Okay, you just get out of their way, let Darla do her thing, and she's going to do it. So, I mean, I have a question for you as realtors, and we talk about this, Harvey, and I love talking about really two areas. When you have a new couple, they're a first-time home buyer, and the market is hot like it is, and there's several different offers in there, do you ever waive an inspection contingency?
Don't recommend it.
That's my man. There you go.
Yeah,
that's it. Never.
That's a gamble. I mean, that's too big of a gamble.
Right. So why would we ever, and as realtors, and we've never talked about this before, but this is a staple question that we always ask a realtor. We do not recommend, and I'm not a realtor, don't even play one on the radio. We would not recommend to waive an inspection because there are so many things that could come up.
Absolutely.
And by the way, unless a buyer is a licensed builder, inspector, and knows what they're looking at, I would never waive an inspection.
Right.
Okay, because things can come up, whether they're little things, Harvey and Darla, or they're big things. You just can't see them. Yeah. You never waive an inspection. I'm glad to hear about that. And then the number two question is, what happens, and it does happen, what happens when an appraisal comes in low? What do you guys do then?
That's always a challenge. We haven't had too many appraisals come in low lately, so which is good. But part of our process and our marketing is, we meet the appraisers at the house, show them all the comps that we have. You want to get them familiar with the house, that all the improvements that were made in the house. But, the only thing we can do is try to submit comps and try to challenge the appraisal.
Yeah, like you said, we haven't too many problems lately.
We haven't lately.
Values are up across the board here, and hopefully we'll have these continued value increases in our neck of the woods. Hey, we're up against a quick break here. When we come back, we got tons to share with you. We're going to get into how to purchase a house, minimum down, all these great things, and some unbelievable news on jumbo loans. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Hi, Harry Glantz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All right, welcome back to the show. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show at Capital Mortgage Funding. Call us all week long, all weekend long. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You can also shoot us an email at mortgage.show@lowrateonline.com. If that's hard, go to Capital Mortgage's page. Check us out on Facebook Live. That's always a cool one, too. We're getting up to about 3,000 viewers on there. If you do view the show, send us a comment. We'll always get back to you, and really appreciate all the listening audience out there. Again, 248-539-9797 right here in the studio. Some great guys in here. Ian Mason, who just does a ton of business on the east side. Kevin McClellan, who fixes up, I think, every house and really makes it great. Kevin's got a reputation. If you see one of his houses, like, you're making offers immediately. So really cool stuff out there. And we were just talking about the face-to-face interview, and, you know, people are calling around chasing an 8%. So I wrote down some numbers, and if you guys want to jump in with this, what does an 8% mean on $100,000? You know, an 8% 0.125 on your interest rate. So whether your interest rate's 4.625 or 4.75, $8.
Yeah,
$8 on a 30-year. So you got, then if you're borrowing $200,000 on an eighth, now you got 16. And of course, if you're better yet, if the rate goes up even more, you just keep timesing it over. But rates, generally speaking, if they've gone up 0.5%, maybe it's costing you $60 to about $80 more, and that's what we saw over the last 12 months here.
Yeah, well, we've been battling and fighting because rates have been going up, so it's a very competitive market out there, and people think I would love to tell you how important it is to not chase and worry about the rate quite as much. Worry about the personal service. Worry about closing your transaction.
You're never going to notice that rate again.
No.
The $8 difference, the $10 difference, $12. It's not
how about you work with the wrong lender or the wrong agent?
Exactly.
You spend $400 on inspection, $400 on an appraisal, and because your loan officer didn't know what they were doing, like I just had happen on one of my houses. I'm trying to sell.
Kevin, I'm glad you brought up the anger.
Yeah, sorry, but I had to jump in. You know, we're 48 days in, and you know another condition pops up, and another condition pops up. And like I just know that wouldn't happen with you guys, so I cringe when I get offers on my properties, and I got to sift through them, and I pick the wrong one, and I'm kind of going through it right now, unfortunately.
No, we appreciate the good feedback anyway. All right, welcome back to the show. It's 9:31 if you've just joined us. This is the fastest hour in radio, I think. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. You can always send us an email to mortgage.show@lowrateonline.com. Just look us up, Capital Mortgage Funding, right here in your backyard. You want to deal with local mortgage lenders. That's right. Get a real approval letter and sit down with the real professionals.
Well, Harvey,
we'll
they passed the test. They passed the 2 questions, right?
Yeah, these guys,
never
yeah,
an
they're doing
inspection.
great.
And what do we do on appraisals? We talk about it.
Let me reintroduce John and Jack APAP from the APAP Group, Signature Sotheby's down there in Birmingham. What a great office. You guys, like I said earlier in the show, it's a really classy office, and that's what I like about it is I think our industry needs a little classy it up a little bit and educate the families and make sure that they're doing the right thing on these purchases.
And less arguing. Less adversarial relationships.
I'm good with that one, too, Harry. I'll take that one. You know, Jack, you mentioned your house in Beverly Hills. When you said the price, I almost fell off my seat. I didn't know you could buy in Beverly Hills, Michigan, which is, part of it's next to Birmingham, the Woodward Corridor. You've got Royal Oak, Ferndale, all these other cities that are top dollar. And here you're telling me Beverly Hills is still under 300.
Under 400.
Under 300 with some good negotiating
from
the big man over there.
Well, and again, you guys are going to make that house happen. But what families need to know is the FHA limits are up there close to 300,000, 200, what I wrote it down last night, 295, what is it, 294, 515. You can purchase 3.5% down, even if you had banged up credit, and you can purchase that house. And you can have seller's concessions up to 6%. There's so much opportunity out there for families. It's not push a button and get a mortgage. It's not. That is a recipe for disaster. Right. If you guys want to comment on that, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. And I think it's like you guys said earlier. It's all about having the right professionals working with you. And that's why we're working with you guys. It's a great process.
Thanks a lot. And again, we talked about 3.5% down FHA, but 3% down conventional programs, 0 down programs for all our veterans. So many veterans out there. If you haven't taken a look at your eligibility, again, the certificate of eligibility allows you to purchase a house with 0 down. Seller's concessions are allowed. We'll show you the way. Call Capital Mortgage Funding. We're very heavily involved with the Wounded Warrior Project. And if you're a veteran, you definitely want to take advantage of your 0 down programs. And also one other thing for our listeners in the outside of our downtown area is the rural development loans, USDA loans. Northern Macomb County, all of Washington, parts of Oakland County, parts of Wayne County. Folks, and anything in the outlying areas, the out counties, you can purchase 0 down. There are income limits, but find out how to take your family away from the situation, that rental situation. You're not building any equity. You're paying somebody else's mortgage. And again, if you plan on staying here for a while, home ownership should be for you. You definitely want to be able to hunker down for at least 3 years. But if you're not going anywhere, and I like what you said, John, I said this years ago, you could play some old shows. I said, what do you mean Chicago? What's in Chicago? Everyone's moving back. I'm telling you, I can play back some shows.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, what's in Chicago? Nothing. We all the fresh waters here. They got a little taste of our Lake Michigan, but we have so much here now.
That might be a big lake over there, Harv.
We've got
Harry, I don't know.
Harry, you
tell me. I'm the guy that says that Lake Michigan's a pretty big lake.
It's a pretty big lake, Harry.
There you go. Thanks.
But again, we have lots of restaurants now. We've got the universities. I mean, this is the place to be. Down even Detroit and now our outlining areas are really happening. It's so much fun to be a Michigander again. I think it's what we've sort of reinvented.
Harvey, I totally agree with that, though, to be honest with you, because, I'm 25. A lot of my friends, didn't really go to Chicago. Most of my high school friends are still here and living here and buying houses here. It's a great, we go downtown all the time. It's a lot of fun. It's a great place.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
And you're in a great position because you are that guy that they all go to.
Exactly,
that's
Harry.
So and that's a big smile on his face, right?
It's not
there
bad.
You go.
Exactly. Yeah, both of ours. Yeah.
Plenty of opportunity here, whether you're an engineer, you're in medicine. We talk about the unemployment figures. In Michigan, we're back on top. The unemployment figures here are really, really low. Companies hire 23,000 more workers. On the new construction side, that's one of the things that's holding us up. If you're in the trades, give us a call. We can find you. We can place you into lots of jobs. All the builders around town, that's been their problem, getting these homes up in a timely manner, is they don't have the professional trades to get out there and get the work done.
Well, supply and demand, Harv, right? Yeah. Supply and demand, big demand for new construction right now.
Right. That's true.
Low supply of tradespeople. Yeah. And that's what you're going to find. And, that also drives the prices up. And that's what we're seeing, that they prices have been driven up by the supply and demand. Great place to live. We live in a phenomenal area. The cost of living relative to other cities is very low. Major sports, 4 major sports, all college sports around. We've got, if you take a look, go up and down Woodward and see what's going on there. A lot of activity, a lot of action. And Macomb County, too. Macomb County has been our #1 growth county in the last 5 years of metropolitan Detroit. Still a lot of land out there, still a lot of new construction, and the values are going up. So, it's just great, as you said, Harvey, to live around here.
Yeah, you guys mentioned at the break, too, talking about buying some investment properties up there. We've had a good amount of clients recently give us a phone call talking about buying some rental properties. And one of the things is near the college towns. And whether it be if you're looking to buy up in Ann Arbor, if you're headed up there right now, good luck to the Blue. And, of course, Michigan State and just the surrounding. But you can look in Kalamazoo. You can look at some of the smaller colleges. You could be up at Adrian in these areas and look for some opportunity because, as we know, John, well, we put some. I have daughter 19 now. We see the cost of what it costs to rent at these college campuses, and there's opportunities out there. And it just dip your toes into a little bit of real estate, and you might make a few dollars at doing that. So always these great opportunities out there. 248-539-9797. We'd like to hear from you all morning long. Of course, we bring in some great real estate agents, and we bring in home staging expert Darla Rowley here to talk a little bit more about it. Darla, as I was reading your book last night, home staging, it's not about covering up flaws. It's about it's the contrary. It's actually showing the potential space and allowing a buyer to get away from those bad things and focus on the space itself. So there's a science to this.
Well, absolutely, because scale is critical. And often if you have an occupied home that's overly full of items, a lot of times you can just purge and, like what you were saying earlier, just, here's your checklist of, priorities and what should stay and what should go. And, or if you walk in and you got 5 kinds of carpet and 7 paint colors, which I call the Crayola house.
Okay.
These are things that are very, very hard for people to overcome. Granted, a new paint job for a house may cost $2,000 or $3,000, or maybe less if you're handy that way, but people can't overcome it. Any kind of a flaw a home has will cost more if you leave it that way than if you were proactive and fixed it beforehand. So it's really, really important to, with the exception of like a $50,000 kitchen, you can't do that. You have to be smart about things and do them in an economical way. But, overcoming objections is a huge part of what we do as stagers.
When a house is typically sitting for a while, some people say it's either outdated or it's priced too heavy. John, you see this often. I had a buddy who's got one listed, and he's having trouble selling it. And I know the reasons, outdated kitchen and maybe needs a fresh coat of paint throughout the house. How do you get to that point? I mean, do you roll the dice and eventually say, hey, let's maybe get this thing fixed up. Maybe let's redo the kitchen or at least the countertops or something.
Harvey, we do exactly what we do, but we believe in staging so much that we will actually reimburse our sellers for staging at the end when we close. So, when we tell them that, then they really believe in it. But I think you have to experience it as a seller first, and then you can really see the benefit of staging. But that's something we really believe in, so we'll pay for it as long as we close the deal. And then they're 100% convinced because they can't lose.
So, Darla, I don't know if we said this in the show earlier. I know we said it on the break. Can you tell everybody listening out there just the average cost to stage a house?
Well, if you start with like vacant homes, you can get it done for as little as $1,000. And our very high-end homes might be as much as $5,000. So our average transaction for a vacant home is going to be around $2,200, $2,600.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on how many rooms we're staging, how big is the house, is it a $150,000 house or is it a $2 million house? So every house needs something a little bit different. And we also are very, very good about not overselling our stage. We want to make sure that everything we do adds value to the equation. I think John can attest to that.
Absolutely.
If they have a difficulty with the budget, we'll say, okay, well, where can we make a compromise without hurting the sale? We're very, very conscious about that.
They have different packages too for different price points. I think that's really attracts a lot of people also.
We have free quotes. There's no risk.
No.
You can call, our office number and our team will walk you through like what kind of house do you have, how big is it, what neighborhood is in it. We can give you a ballpark estimate over the phone. You're not sure, then we'll send a stager out and we'll talk about it.
I mean, that's a really great value right there. I mean, great advice for free. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's easy. They just
awesome stuff. All right, we're going to go to a quick break here. 248-539-9797. We got a couple calls to get to. Rob, stay on the line. When we come back, all of your calls.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
That's right, folks. The Wilbur Dream Cruise is going on right now. Get on out there. We got 97.1 broadcasting live all day. Check us out on Woodward there. I know I'm getting mixed. Someone said it's at a Coney. We're at McDonald's. You guys will fill in with me here or something. Tell me where we're at, the actual booth. But call us at 248-539-9797. We'll answer all your questions. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Also live here in the studio, 248-539-9797. I'm Harvey Freed, James Lutz from our office. We got Kevin McClellan in and Ian Mason, great real estate guys out on the east side. Hey, let's go to some calls. We got Joe calling in from East Point. Joe, good morning. Welcome to our show.
Good morning. Good morning. My question is credit card debt, and maybe as it relates to your home and other property. My question is credit card debt, as I've always understood, unsecured debt, not secured by your car or your house or your kids or your bicycle, but unsecured. Granted, based on your creditworthiness at the time you get the card or the credit.
Yes. I'm good with all that. Keep going. What else?
Yes, it's unsecured.
Yes, it's unsecured debt. You go to the department store, you buy miscellaneous, you go to all these big box stores. You spend a lot. I just spend a lot of money, and it's on my credit card. And I got the bill yesterday, and if I don't pay the thing off, whatever, if I don't pay the balance, $2,000-$3,000, then they're hitting me with that interest rate, and those interest rates are pretty high. I mean, it looks like 15% on my card. I don't even look. I pay it off every month, or at least I'm going to try to this month.
Yeah, actually, the interest rates are. There's a word called usurious,
right?
Based on extreme greed. But my point is, if let's say you don't pay your credit card, let's say you just stop making payments, can they come and get your house? Can they come and get your car?
No. Only the mortgage, of course, would be a lien on the property, and items that are lien, James, of course, then they can foreclose on. You want to comment on that at all, James?
Yeah, no, your credit's just going to go. It's going to hit your credit if you stop paying your bills.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
So in other words, you're saying that credit card debt is not unsecured if they can come after your house or your car.
Well, I think what happens, Joe, is they eventually, if you don't pay it, it's like any other debt. They'll get a judgment against you.
Default judgment.
Default judgment. They'll put a lien against any assets that you own. You go to sell that property. They want to take that.
Well, then
Depression and suicidal thinking can happen to any of us, but until very recently, most people kept quiet about this experience. On Sunday, September 9th, the start of National Suicide Prevention Week, will help end the stigma of talking about mental health. Join us live at 7 a.m. for an in-depth show featuring Pearl Jam and Michael Phelps, the most decorated Olympian of all time. For an opportunity to be featured in the show, share your story on I'mListening.org. I'm listening. Take a minute. Save a life.
You can watch the game on TV, but we have the real coverage. The truth about your team, even if it hurts. Game Day Uncensored. Monday night on 97.1 The Ticket.
All righty, welcome back to the show, 946. The Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Call today, get that approval letter, deal with real professionals, find out all your options, and get educated on the process. We'll show you from A to Z. You'll deal with one person, one professional, very educated, very established mortgage professional. You're going to love that experience.
Yeah, singular point of contact, Harvey. You have to have that. You cannot call a place and talk to 16 different people through a transaction.
No, that's not going to work here.
Does not work.
Agents don't like that either. And more importantly, you won't get your offer accepted.
Can you imagine John Apap, who's been in the business for God knows how many years, calling and getting transferred around to 16 different people?
He just wants to know if the appraisal came in.
I just have one question. Well,
hold on
let
a
me
minute.
put you on hold.
Hey, let's go out to Rob. Hey, Rob, thanks for staying on the line. Buying a property up north. What's going on with that?
Simple question, folks. How you doing today?
Great. Thanks for calling.
Y'all got your parkas?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm a Canadian citizen. I live here in Kingsville, right across the river, and I spend a lot of time in Michigan. And the vacation properties up there are beautiful and affordable. Is there any legal way for me to own something there?
Potentially there is. We have, you might need a work visa here. You might need to, you can, yeah. Do you have cash? You can buy it. Where does it say a Canadian? I don't know that a Canadian citizen, I don't know that to be
You gotta
true.
pay for cash. You can buy cash.
You can
Now,
definitely pay
question
cash
Is,
and own
is
it.
the question, can you get
Get
a
a mortgage.
mortgage? I mean, if that's the question you're
It's not
asking.
a matter of a mortgage. Okay, I'm at retirement age right now,
Right.
and cash is fine. I love that Ludington area, Tawas.
I'm with you.
Me too.
I spend so much time up there, and the prices are incredible. Like versus cottage country here in Canada, in Ontario, the prices here are crazy. What you can get for the dollar in Michigan is phenomenal.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
It's not a setup call at all, Rob. I don't know you, and I appreciate the call this morning. There's no doubt about it. This is the time of year where our families they spend a lot of time up north. They're coming back, whether it was in the Glen Arbor area. I know my brother goes up there. We got TC, the Traverse City crowd, Harbor Springs. And now I like the Huron side, too. East Tawas is a place that I used to go to as a kid. And you do see these prices are very affordable. You definitely can purchase a place. I've never heard of any restrictions here if you want to buy cash. But we do offer mortgages, but you do have to have different citizenship and work visas and such.
You have to have a work visa in place. You have to have, we have to obviously verify the income.
Of course,
tax returns.
They do international credit reports. Sometimes families in Canada do have credit established here in the United States. Rob, I'm going to call you off the air, and more importantly, either set you up with the right people to take a look at those properties up north. More importantly, and
Funny, you were just talking. You were mentioning going to 16 different people. Yes, and you get 16 different answers. So now I just want to go to this
well,
one.
let me give you this one. You can buy something for cash for sure, and I'll give you a call after to dig in a little bit deeper and find out there's some other opportunity for you. Thanks for the call, Rob.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it. 248-539-9797. Let's go off to Bob in Chesterfield. Good morning, Bob. Welcome to our show.
Hey, how you doing?
Morning, Bob.
Good morning.
I have a little bit of a unique situation. I have a house in Chesterfield, which is fully paid for. It's in my parents' name. And what I'm looking to do is transfer it, basically have my parents sell it to us, my wife and I. And I'm looking at how to do that. I owe them $19,000 personally, so I'd like to. How do I, is that something you can help me with?
Yeah. So you're living in the house right now, correct?
Yeah, we've lived it it was a 15-year fix.
Yeah, and you're not on title at all.
No, it's in my father's name.
Okay, so what your father's going to have to do is, if they're going to sell it to you outright, that's one thing. Then you're going to need a formal purchase agreement and things of that nature. Or he could quit claim it to you and put it in your name.
Okay.
Okay, and have you been making the payments? Have you been making the payments to him, or how have you been handling the payment?
Well, it's kind of funny. The first 9 years of it, we paid directly to the mortgage company, and then the last 6 years, I guess, we paid it directly to him.
All right, so there's documentation showing that you've made the mortgage payment, regardless if you paid the lender directly or paid your father directly. There's a constant flow of check writing and documentation making the same amount every month for the last God knows how many months, correct?
Yeah, even when we paid them for 6 years, we've made the check out to them in the amount of the mortgage. So yeah.
Well, I still like the idea of doing this. We only owe him $19,000. The house is well worth what? Give me a number.
About $140.
Yeah, you're in great shape. I like the idea of doing it this way. Although he could sell it to you outright and avoid the transfer tax, I like the idea that he puts your names, do a quick claim deed, as Harry mentioned. So we'll call you after the show. We'll get you set up with a title company. Put you and your wife's name on the title.
Right.
Now, you guys are owner of the house. We can come back 6 months later and do a cash-out refinance for you, and you can go ahead and use that money to do whatever you want
Yeah, but
with.
we have to structure this properly up front, so we'll get it taken care of up front, so we set you up for success down the road. So we'll make sure that we handle that properly, and you'll get with a professional title company.
Yeah,
you and your
we're
dad.
self-employed, and our business has grown like 350% in the last 2 years, so we do want to get some equitable value to help with the growth.
Yeah, okay,
Cash
good.
flow obviously is an issue.
Yeah, you can take cash out. So six months after you've owned it on a conventional loan, 12 months on an FHA. We definitely want to see what you qualify for. It's a great call, Bob. I appreciate the call, and I'm going to follow up with you today to get you on the right path.
Okay, I'm on a job site, so if I miss your call, I'll call you back.
You got it, Bob.
Fantastic.
Thanks
Bob,
a lot. Great
congratulations
call.
to your business. Good stuff. Thank you. 248-539-9797. If you want to sneak a call in, again, you can call Capital Mortgage the rest of the weekend. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Get the right answers, do the right thing, save your family money.
Well, again, Bob has a situation that's a little sticky situation, but we can take care of it. We'll iron it out for him. We'll make it smooth, and we'll put him in touch with the right people. We'll take care of it. So up front, he'll be set up for 6 months down the road when he needs to go ahead and consummate the transaction.
Yeah, just like many buyers out there, people are just unsure how to do things. Get the right people involved, and you can find out how to do it. Understanding how mortgage insurance or what mortgage might work for you. These are very interesting concepts. Again, it's not rocket scientist, but there is some knowledge there, and this knowledge will give you the confidence. Those are the two words. The knowledge gives you the confidence. It's not letting a word or something in the mortgage industry or not understanding inspection versus an appraisal. Don't let that scare you away. Gain that confidence and knowledge and really make yourself a professional home buyer, I think, or even a home seller for that matter. It works better for all of us. Jack and John, you'll say your educated buyers are always easier to work with.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
All right.
Plus, I think he can get a benefit from the tax write-off and the interest.
Well, he'll be able to for sure, yeah.
He's living in the house for that long a time.
But you know what? If he made, as long as his dad wasn't taking the interest deduction, he could take the interest deduction. I believe my CPA friends who are working this morning, because they all are, of course they are, they'll go ahead and correct me on that.
No, I've been told that too, everybody.
I didn't know that.
Okay, however, there's only one person can deduct the mortgage interest. One entity can deduct it. Both entities can't deduct it. So the dad can't deduct it and the son can't deduct it. If the son's deducting it, as long as the dad's not, it's okay.
Yeah, hey, we got a new tax code coming up, and I think we're all going to be interested to see how that's going to shake out as you sit down with your CPAs. But this is also the time of year, we talked about it earlier, debt consolidation, maybe to pay off your property taxes. But this is also starting to become the time of the year where we're creeping up on Christmas time, where we got to get our books together. We got to get our paperwork together. Get yourself prepared, whether it be home ownership, if you're already a homeowner, do the right thing and call. Find out if you can refinance and save some money by maybe getting rid of that MIP on an FHA loan or understanding how to get rid of the mortgage insurance on a conventional loan. Lots of opportunities out there. Again, if we always talk about it, get the professionals involved. You're going to have a great result. What else do I got for you? Neighborhood factors. 50% of buyers with children say that the number one thing is the school district, fellas. So I wanted to jump into that. We're starting to run out of time, but if you guys just talk to me about some of the needs and wants that you're seeing out there, Jack and John, and what the trends are lately in the real estate market.
Harvey, I agree with that. Number one concern that most of our buyers have are going to be the schools. I mean, especially buyers that are being transferred in. It's a process to educate them, and everyone that we deal with is focused on the school district. So one thing, too, I noticed people lately are really looking for a community. They like to be close to a town. They like to have a neighborhood with sidewalks where they can get out there and walk and meet the neighbors. So those are definitely three items that the buyers are looking for now.
Always, those schools are so important. Again, this time of year, if you haven't sold your home, definitely give us a call, Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll get you set up with John and Jack and their professional real estate team. They got the Apex Group. They do a great job over there, and the key is to get the professionals involved, whether you're buying or selling. Also, a couple other things that I popped up I want to throw out there. Families are purchasing. Oh, that's it. The music says we can't even get into it anymore. That's okay.
Me? Why does that happen every week, Harv?
All righty. Well, I'll tell you what. It was the fastest show ever today because we have great information.
For sure.
Hey,
Darla,
you guys
thank
are great.
John and Jack, thank you.
Thank you guys for having us.
You guys are awesome. You play a central role in helping buyers and sellers. Be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. We want to thank you, Darla Rowley, Impact Staging. You are awesome. We'll have you back for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, John and Jack with the APAP Group. You guys are fantastic. Signature Sotheby's. Give us a call, Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE. We'll set you up with these great real estate agents. Home staging, it's a must. Find out how to get it done the right way. Okay, for Harry Glanz, I'm Harvey Freed. We'll see you next week. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Harry Glanz and Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.